What is up, and welcome to another episode of the Progress Podcast. The Progress, where we help young people to discover that they have a purpose and progress is possible for you in your life. Today, I'm wonderfully excited and delighted to be joined by our guest, Caroline Simpson.
Yes. Hello, you guys. I'm super excited to be here. So thank you.
Yeah, we've already had a wonderful conversation this morning. She has a lot to share. Connecting through social media, I actually heard about her first from my dad because she did a presentation at the school that he teaches at. And so I heard great things about the impact that you had there. And then ever since then, following your content, following the things that you create, I just started to think that I had a grasp on the scale of it. And my mind keeps being blown over and over again because you've created just a huge movement with It's Cool to Care nonprofit. And we'll get into that. But I really would love to start today, Caroline, just digging into kind of your origins and the younger you.
You bet.
And what started this for you, this belief of knowing that you were made for more?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's so much to unpack there because I really do think that that's the preface of all of this. I think me and you both can resonate on this level where we just are trying to make some impact. And so I felt like growing up, like you had mentioned, I always felt like I was made for more. I never really knew how I could create and get involved in those spaces. But I knew that I always had a big love for care and love for connection and community. And so as I got older and as I experienced life more and matured, I was able to kind of fine tune my purpose and really focus in on how I wanted to be and how I wanted to show up. And I think just remembering all throughout the way of where I've been, where I am right now and where I wanted to go has helped me create change and create sustainability and moving forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the beautiful things about your story is now you work really directly impacting that same community that you were a part of, like with middle school students, high school students. I don't know. Do you work with elementary school students too?
Yeah, not as much.
Okay.
But when there's a need in the community, we'll tackle that as well.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, I'd love it if you unpack for us just a little bit more about the foundation that you founded.
You bet.
And what the mission is there.
Yeah, you bet. So what I founded is called It's Cool to Care. It's Cool to Care is a nonprofit that believes that caring changes everything. It changes how we lead, how we love, how we show up for ourselves and for those around us as well. And so there's 3 pillars of It's Cool to Care. The first is we talk about our message. We go into schools and we share our message, the importance of caring and why leading with love and compassion really does matter and how important it is. The second one is we're involved in the adaptive needs community. So we try our best to provide awesome opportunities to where at the end of the day, we're all human beings and just showing the importance of focusing on what we're similar at rather than when we're different. Because when we focus on that, we understand that we truly are more similar than we are different. We're all just human beings. And so try to just connect and grow community in that. And so we do events and different things and different outreaches to where we can show that on full display. And then our third one that we're involved in is the suicide prevention and mental health realm. That's just a big thing that we focus on. It's a big issue in our society. And so trying to bring positive light to those dark issues creates change and creates lasting impact. And so really grateful for the opportunities that It's Cool to Care is involved in there and just trying to create impact everywhere and anywhere we can.
I love it. You'll notice Caroline is using the word we because it's not just you going into schools and sharing this hugely impactful message about It's Cool to Care.
Yeah.
But you'll go on her website for her nonprofit and you'll see this team. She's like assembled the Avengers, all these athletes around the whole country sharing this same message and really just helping to build that connection with young people, letting them know that their story matters too.
Sure.
That even though they're facing obstacles and they might feel alone at times, there's opportunities for them to grow and have an impact as well. Tell them a little bit more about what you've seen as you've started doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll take you back to talking about we just a little bit. So when I first started It's Cool to Care, I was playing softball collegiately. So I was up in Idaho and I was playing softball. And so when I first saw a need for a nonprofit, the It's Cool to Care one, I called just 5 of my friends that I knew that were also playing college athletics at the time. And I said, friends, I think we got an idea here of something that we can all use our platforms for good. And I believe that every single person in this world has a platform, whether that's in your work, whether that's in your family, whether that's in your team, whatever role that you have a platform somewhere. And so being able to use that for good. So we started with 5 of us, and now we're at 45.
Jeez.
So 45 just people that below the surface are just ordinary people that want to use their messages and use their stories and experiences for good.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, sports is a big part of my story because that's where it started. However, that's only a little piece of the puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's cool to care. Sports is where we can learn and we can connect and we can grow, but that's not the only place that we can do that. And so college athletics and college athletes are really involved with It's Cool to Care. However, there's so many people on the back end that honestly have nothing to do with sports.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the beauty of it, because we all have different paths and we all have different journeys. And so at the end of the day, we're just people. And when we bring people together that are similar minded on bringing good and messages and encouragement to life, we can bring and build something out pretty special that we've been able to see.
Yeah. I've never been a college athlete. I didn't make it. But just imagining what that lifestyle must have been like. I mean, very busy. You have a lot to focus on with school, your personal life, with practice, and like staying in shape so you can play. And to then go against the grain and turn outward and think, how can I use this platform for something bigger than just me? How can I use this as something to serve? That's one of the reasons you're a perfect guest for the Progress podcast. Like, that totally aligns with our mission. I'd love to hear, for those who are listening, I'm sure we have a lot of listeners who feel a similar calling to make a difference.
Sure.
They see the issues that we face in our society today, whether it be with suicide or mental illness or just plain loneliness.
Right.
People not realizing their purpose and not feeling cared about.
Sure.
What direction maybe would you share for people who want to make a difference?
Absolutely. I think there's so many ways we can make a difference, right? Like, there's so many different paths and origins we can start that. But I really think it all comes down to the simplicity of caring.
Mm-hmm.
I think everything in life we can bring back to love and we can bring back to care. When we focus on the basics, when we focus on the little things, we realize that those little things are the big things, right?
Yeah.
It matters how we treat each other. It matters how we show up. It matters how we connect and make those around us feel. And most importantly, it also matters how we show up for ourselves. Sometimes I think in leadership positions or just life in general, we're so focused on looking outward, and that's important that we do that, but we can't forget about ourselves, right?
Yeah.
We want to lead others. We've heard that quote a lot. If we want to lead others, we got to lead ourselves, right? And so focusing on the simple things, I think, help us create the big things that we want to see in this world. And it just starts with one, right? It starts with one. It's a ripple effect. When we bring each other together throughout that, we can build something impactful.
I love it. What I'm hearing from you, if I understand correctly, is don't try to do it alone.
Right.
If you're trying to make a difference, you got to find a team. You got to find people to collaborate with and
Sure.
on that same journey.
Yeah.
Some people might hear it's cool to care and think, oh, like that's a cute little phrase. But having talked with you, I understand it's way more deeply meaningful than just that. Could you tell us, what does that mean? It's cool to care?
Absolutely. So CARE is an acronym for character, authenticity, resilience, and encouragement. And when we were beginning It's Cool to Care, we really wanted to really think about how we were showing up and why it mattered that we did so in a way that was impactful. And so those 4 words are huge to our mission and our message. And so character, we got to focus on ourselves. We got to build the belief in ourselves. We got to look at the person that we are and make sure that in 5 to 10 years, we're proud of who we are and continue to be present in the moment, but always be looking forward as well and making sure that we're growing and that we're learning in a way that is impactful and that feels right. And then authenticity, we got to make sure that we're being us, we're being genuine, true, honest.
Yeah.
And not only that, it's a double-edged sword there. We got to make sure that we're allowing those around us to also be authentic. They might be a little bit different than us. They might do different things. They might look different, sound different. They might love different than us. And we got to make sure that we're respecting those around us and making sure that we're being authentic through and through. Resilience, we all go through hard times, right?
Mhm.
making sure that we're able to bounce back from those and grow through what we go through.
Yeah.
We got to make sure that we're growing all throughout the way. And then encouragement is so important for It's Cool to Care. We got to make sure that we're building the belief in ourselves that we can do our dreams, we can do our hopes, we can do what we want. But we miss the mark if we just focus in on ourselves. We have to look outside of ourselves and make sure that we're also encouraging those around us to follow their passions and their dreams. And so encouraging people to follow and just live life, and then trusting that people will do that for us. And so when we encourage each other, there's so much impact there. And again, it brings back to the simplicity of things. When we look at the basics, encouragement, care, love, that's where it all starts. And we got to make sure that we're thinking about the little things because they are the big things.
That's a beautiful framework, just a way to live life.
Yeah.
I love what you've built there. As you were sharing it just made me think about an experience I had earlier on this week. I'm an aspiring speaker, motivational speaker. I speak on suicide prevention, mental health topics. I heard about this speech going on in Pleasant Grove, pretty close to where I live, with a way more experienced speaker, like a professional. Actually, I met this guy at the top of Mount Temp. He was recording a video for his Instagram, and he just happened to mention, like, I'm the #1 speaker in Utah. And my ears perked up. I was like eating my sandwich on the summit of Temp, and I was like, I need to go talk to that guy.
Yeah.
So we went and connected over social media. I saw about this speech, and I knew I needed to go learn from him. If you want to be a great speaker, you got to listen to great speakers. So I called up one of my buddies who was also an aspiring speaker, and we went and listened to him. And we were kind of just chatting, tossing around dreams in the car as we were driving there. And my friend asked me if I ever get scared before I go on stage nowadays. And I told him, yeah, like every single time. Like every single time I post a video, every single time I go on stage or even open my mouth in a group of people to share about this message that I'm so passionate about, it's still scary. But I just get so used to it. Like the reps are the key. And so just start. Like he wants to post videos. He has a message to share. He has a purpose to impact the world. And I told him, yeah, it's not really going to get, I don't think so, at least. I'm not to the level of this pro speaker we're going to listen to on the stage, but from my vantage point, it's just going to be through process of time. Let's go rewind the clock a little bit to Caroline. A year ago, a little more than a year ago, you have this idea, this vision of starting It's Cool to Care. What were some of the fears or the obstacles that you encountered early on?
Yeah. I loved what you had just mentioned, talking a little bit about your story. Your story is incredible. I'm excited to dive more into that as well. But you said something really profound. You said the importance of starting. And I think sometimes that gets overlooked, right? In anything, we all, from a little dream to a big dream, we got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah.
You look at that awesome speaker, and that's incredible, right? But one day he also had to start.
Right.
And it was scary for him. You look at the biggest business owners or the biggest, whatever the case may be, biggest athletes, biggest whatever, that in a sense, like have done very successful things. They also had to start at a place of discomfort, and they found beauty in that, and they grew. And so I really think there's something to be said about just starting.
Yeah.
Because I think when I think back to myself, to answer your question, when I started It's Cool to Care, I had no idea. Honestly, I had no idea what was going to come of it. I knew that I saw a need and I wanted to attack it, but I didn't know how I was going to.
Yeah.
But I started. And so I think just something to be said about starting and hopping into that space and being okay with being uncomfortable and maybe looking a little bit weird.
Yes.
Because when you step into that space, you're able to grow and you're able to inspire. And not only are you changing those around you, most importantly, you're changing your character and how you want to show up and the person that you are.
Yeah. Oh, that's incredible. And just to give a glimpse of like how quickly things will progress when we do jump in. And I love to use the word attack.
Yeah.
To me, that very well describes the level of ambition and commitment that you have, the way you feel called to this purpose. In just over a year, you founded this nonprofit in April 2024, and now you're in 26 schools in the Magic Valley. Your programs are impacting people like through multiple states throughout the United States. tell us where you're at today. Like, it's growing incredibly fast.
Yeah, so it's super exciting, and I feel like it's exciting because the community that's getting built around it. I think there's it's super important to realize that it's a team effort, totally. And I know with the things that you're doing, I'm doing. At the end of the day, we're just people. We're just people that want to make this world a better place, and it's important to see how other people feel that way as well. They just sometimes need an avenue to get there. And so when we can come together with a similar mission, we might have different paths, but we have the same mission, just all encompassing bettering our world. We can do some pretty amazing things. And so, yes, It's Cool to Care has been in Idaho. It's in Idaho. It's in Utah. It's in a little bit of Wyoming. And then it's branched out to a few similar states as well. And it's cool to see the ripple effect when there's a message, when there's a soul message, and you're able to fine tune it to the different needs of the communities that we encounter, we can make it very personable. Yeah. It's cool to care about so many different things. And so I think that's one of the biggest reasons why I love it. And I'm so determined to get that message out, is because there's care everywhere. Sometimes we just can't see it. And so it's important to try our best to find ways that we can bring that care to surface. Yeah. In our society, we talk a lot about it's cool to be nonchalant. Right. And we had an awesome conversation about that this morning. But it's not. It's cool to care about the person sitting in front of you. Yes. It's cool to care about the person sitting in the back of the class that you don't talk to, or sitting or standing in the elevator right next to you. It's cool to connect and to talk. And so I feel like in a way we've kind of stepped away from that. And so bringing that back to the surface, again, going back to simplicity, we can bring awesome things to the forefront. Yeah.
One thing that separates you as a speaker, from my perspective, is that you don't just go in and do a presentation for the school and then, all right, I'm out. Thanks for that. You have real follow-up. I mean, the program you've created gives the school a chance for the youth to actually engage and get involved, and not just be involved with what you're doing, but have some direction in shaping that. Sure. You know, they help to inform you on what the school needs, both working with the administration and with the students. You help to get a grasp of where they're really at. Right. I think that's what it means to care, is to put somebody else's real needs above your personal agenda. Yeah. As speakers, I've always held the belief that, number one, we need to be listeners. And that's not just with our ears, because oftentimes we're the ones holding the mic, we're the one on stage, our voice is the one being heard. But we need to develop the ability to listen with our eyes, to know when people are tuned in, when they're tuned out, what their needs might be. And there's like a sixth sense of just heart, of kind of intuition, of guidance that I'm sure you've experienced, that lets you know when you're in front of an audience, when you're in front of an individual, really, what they need to hear, and the message of empowerment and caring that needs to go to them. So I just commend you for that.
Well, thank you. You're seriously inspiring to me as well. I've been able to see some snippets and hear from some follow-up about your presentation and what you do. And I think what is super important, what we're talking on this same talk train about, the presentations that we both do, is that they're both real. They're both really raw. And we talk about, and we're transparent about our life experience, what we've gone through, the hardships that we've faced, and how we were able to grow through them and become better because of them. And so there's something to be said about just living in that vulnerability. Yes. It can be hard. It can be really, really hard. But when we're able to take our guard down and talk about the things that are hard, excuse me, for us, we're able to grow and become better and show that we're human. Show that it's not as perfect as it may seem on the outside. We're real human with real feelings. And so when we connect that way, it makes a world of a difference. Yeah.
Speaking on topics of self-improvement and progress, personal growth, I mean, it's my favorite thing in the whole world. Yep. And there's lots of tools or habits or secrets that people will try to sell you. But number one probably is difficulty, struggle. Struggle is a necessary ingredient for progress. And that comes for free for everybody I know. Everybody has difficulties. What are some of the challenges that have helped you, Caroline, to become who you are today?
That is such an impactful question. And I'm so grateful that we're on that talk train. I felt like a big thing for me growing up, it was hard because I felt like I always had to be perfect.
Mhm.
I grew up in athletics. I grew up in school where I felt like I always had to be perfect, and I always had to have it together.
Mhm.
And the reality of life is that some of the strongest of rocks, they crack.
Mhm.
And so the strongest of leaders, the strongest of people, what we may look like on the outside, we're all a little broken,
Mhm.
right? And we all handle that a little bit different. Some of us, you can see it very well. Some of us, we shield it. And so to remember that when we're going through those hard times, we're not alone.
Yeah.
And it's so important to remember that. And so when I think back to personal experiences that I had, I missed out on that mark growing up.
Mhm.
I didn't think it was normal to struggle in ways that I did.
Mhm.
But truth is, we're all human and we do. And so I felt like if I could go back and I could tell younger Caroline something, I would let her know that it's okay to struggle. Because truthfully, the person sitting next to me and the person sitting across from me and behind me, they also struggle. And so how can we come together and learn together? And when we do that, that would have saved me a lot of heartache, a lot of confusion, a lot of loneliness.
Yeah.
And so I'm just really grateful that now we know that knowledge. And so what we're both trying to do is just sharing that to our younger selves
Mhm.
and people that we once were, and just people, because we all need to hear that.
Yeah. That's a great connection with the resilience piece. You can tell it, what you just mentioned, it has touched me, and I'll tell you why. It just kind of brought to my mind. I was at a summer camp for a youth serving nonprofit that does substance abuse prevention this summer, and I gave a speech that was part of the reason I was there. But then later on, in a fireside setting, I was asked to share just a couple of thoughts for a couple minutes, and I was unprepared for it. I had no heads up, and just had the impression, kind of the harebrained thought of what I needed to share. And I didn't know why. I had no idea. I don't think about this experience very often, but I got up and I shared about an experience I had when I was younger. I really struggled with acne, like, hugely destructive for my self-confidence. And it was more of a social obstacle than it was like the physical presence of the acne on my face. And I got up and I was sharing about how there were students in my middle school who would ask me, why don't you wash your face? And I remember feeling like I was wearing a mask, like people couldn't see me because of this acne that was on my face. And I shared about when we're with the right people, when we build a community around us of people who care, we can take off the mask. People can see our face, see who we really are, and how liberating that is. And this little girl, after the night was over, this middle school student comes to me and she's just sobbing. She gives me a big ol' hug. And she said to me the two favorite words that I ever want to hear as a speaker: me too.
Mm.
Me too. That was my experience. The kids asked me the same question: why don't you wash your face? And then I knew that is why I had to talk about that. Even though I had no idea, I didn't necessarily want to share. It was kind of vulnerable for me to put that out there, but it was like a tender moment to realize why.
Right.
And so I would just tag that onto what you mentioned earlier for those who want to make an impact. Not only just start, but maybe just start with the uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Just start with what you don't want to share, because there's power in that message.
There's so much power there. Thank you for sharing that story.
Yeah.
Because it's real.
Mm-hmm.
And just sitting here, I mean, I have chills, and because it's real and it's vulnerable. And I love how you talked about remembering your why,
Mm-hmm.
because in the world that we live in, how fast paced it is, it can be heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's important when it does get heavy to remember our why. Some of us know our why. Some of us, we haven't figured it out yet. And no matter where we are on that journey, that's okay. But it's important that we're always trying to find that why that we can rely back on. And for each of us, it's going to look different, right? However, that why is what can keep us grounded.
Mm-hmm.
And so your why is to make people feel seen and loved and cared for. And you show that on full display. Whether you're presenting, whether you're doing an event, you're making people feel like me too.
Yeah.
Exactly like you had mentioned that awesome young woman came up and commended you for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's something to be said about just the realness and the authenticity that we can show. Because when we show each other that we're human, it leads for connection.
Mm-hmm.
When we already are connected, but in a world that we live in, sometimes it pushes us to disconnect.
Right.
And that's never been the case. The case has been for us to come together. And so when we know our why, it's easier to let those disconnected behaviors stay out of the room.
Mm-hmm.
So we're able to look at each other in the eyes. And even though we might not disagree, we're able to fall back on what we know. And that's our why, and connect through that.
Yeah. This might be a simple question, or maybe even a silly question.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's something that you're good at. So I want us to all have the chance to learn from you. How do we show that we care when it's with people who are strangers, or it's just people like all around us? It's easy to have duck your head down, just be on your phone, whatever.
Sure.
But I see you navigating the world in a way that lets people know really clearly that you care about them. What are some ways we can all do that?
Absolutely. I love this question because it's simple. There's a lot to it, but we can care by being present.
Mm-hmm.
We can care by showing up. And that's going to look different for us at different times in our lives. But we can just try our best to be there, not only for ourselves, but for the people around us. We can take a few extra minutes and sit with the person that's having a hard day and really get to know them. We can take a few extra seconds and hold open a door.
Mm-hmm.
We can take a few extra seconds and look each other in the eyes like we're doing,
mm-hmm.
And learn each other's story. We can take a few extra seconds and look up in the hallway
mm-hmm.
when we're walking past each other. We all feel it. Sometimes we don't know. Do we duck our head? Do we not? We can look up and we can say, hey, how are you? You look great today, or whatever the case may be. Those little things, like we had just mentioned, and I've said it a few times, but I'll say it again because it's important. Those little things are the big things.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we care, we're able to show up and we're able to be real. We're able to show that we go through things, and the person standing next to us does as well. And figuring out a way that we can all care and grow together is so important. So I would just say, long story short, the little things. Care about the little things.
That's really powerful. I think that's kind of a great truth of humanity, is that whoever is brave enough to tip that first domino of sharing vulnerability, inevitably there will be other hands that go up and say, me too. I struggle too. I relate to that experience. And that weaves us together. Those connections are life-giving. They're humanizing. And even though they don't necessarily solve our problems, it's helpful to know that we're not the only one who has problems, that other people around us struggle as well. And it kind of brings to my mind the idea of a village. My boss with Hope for Utah, the suicide prevention nonprofit I work for, he has this phrase that it takes a village to raise a child, but it takes an entire community to save one.
Mm.
And I really feel like that's true. And a lot of times the solution to our problems is not found within ourselves, but there's somebody within our network, somebody within our ecosystem who really could provide some help in overcoming that obstacle, whether it's information, experience that they've had. Maybe they know other people that you need to be connected with to make it through that. And so existing in a vacuum, it's just not a good plan. The connection, the care, it's an essential ingredient.
Absolutely.
Who are some of the folks who have played a key role in bringing your nonprofit from those really infantile beginning stages to where it's at right now? You talked about assembling this team. Tell us about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we jump there, I want to just say something and speak on to what you had just mentioned. And so I love what you talked about at talking about coming together and talking about the importance of me too. I was touched while you were talking, just like we've kind of been talking here, but I was touched because I was reminded of an experience that happened a few weeks ago. Being in the mental health realm, like me and you both are, we're speakers in that realm. The suicide prevention one, it's a heavy space, but it's a crucial space to be in. every time I think about this situation, I get a little emotional. And so I apologize if I get there, but I also think it's important to not apologize for those things, because that's where we grow. Mm-hmm. And that's where we can sit. So I'm going to sit in those spaces, and I'm still, I have to work on that every day, but I'm learning that. I was at a school and I was presenting, and I want to share about this story because it's real. Mm-hmm. There was a young lady after, I normally try to leave about 15 to 10 minutes at the end of our presentation for some questions. Yeah. In our presentation, it's a vulnerable one. And so sometimes some real emotions can arise. And so this young lady, she raised her hand and she said, "Oh, I'll never forget the look in her eyes." And she said, "Caroline, I'm struggling with suicide. And I don't know, I'm really grateful for this presentation, but I don't know what to do." Yeah. And that right there was so impactful. We were able to highlight her story and to highlight that she's so loved, she's so seen, she's so cared for. And after she had said that, we had the whole auditorium clap for her. Yeah. Clap for the braveness, mm-hmm. clap for the risk taking that she had to raise her hand and be courageous and talk about something that she was going through. And it's important that she was able to do that because it showed her peers, it showed me, like we had talked about, the me too, mm-hmm. that we're all struggling, and some of us, we're struggling a little bit more, and that's okay. But how can we get you connected to who you need to? And how can we come together? Get you connected with a professional that can help you in that space. Sometimes we always feel like we have to be the one to say the big thing or do the right thing, but there's people everywhere that are ready to help. And there's professionals. If it's above our pay grade, yeah, that's okay, because they're there. So what we were able to do in that moment is to sit with her and let her know that is okay. And that's okay. And you might not be able to see those brighter days right now, but we're going to get there. Mm-hmm. And not only are you going to get there, we're going to get there with you. And so it just totally shifted the trajectory of that presentation because it was real.
Yeah. Oh, I love you for having the courage to share that right now. I mean, you're telling the principle, but you're demonstrating it as well by having the courage to share that. And the irony in her question, from my perspective, is she says, "Caroline, I'm struggling with suicide. I don't know what to do." You've just done it. Mm. You've just taken the first step, because suicide thrives in silence. Suicide and mental illness, loneliness, all of it thrives when we think we're the only one. But as soon as you open up, the resources start to become available. Now, who knows about it? All of the folks in her school who can help her.
Sure.
Who can help her. And I love how you frame it in that way, that vulnerability and struggle are something to be celebrated.
Sure.
Not something that we need to build walls of shame around. We should clap when people cry. We should clap when people are honest about where they're at, even if it's ugly and messy, because that's the reality for all of us. So, right. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
I'm super grateful that we were able to talk about those real stories. You shared one, I shared one, mm-hmm. and there's impactfulness there. I think it's so important that we do that.
You started with just 5 friends that you invited to be a part of this mission with you. Who are some of the other key players who have become a part of the team that helped you to build to where you are now?
For me, I look around and I see heroes everywhere, right? Mm-hmm. I see heroes in the loud personalities that have helped me. But I also see heroes in the quiet listeners. Mm. Some of the best leaders I know, they listen. They sit with the one that's having a rough day. They sit with them in the trenches there. Mm-hmm. But they also sit with the one that's having the best day of their life, and they sit there with them. And so there's something to be said about those quiet leaders and those loud leaders and everywhere in between, because we all fall on that scale, and it's not linear, right? Yeah. It's everywhere. And so some heroes for me, a big one has been my mom. My mom has always pushed me and encouraged me to step outside of my comfort zone. And where times I've been shamed by putting myself into a box, she let me know that there's no box to be had. There's no corner to put yourself in. When I felt like sometimes I did that for myself, I self-sabotaged in that way, because I wasn't fully I didn't fully understand the importance of being myself.
Mm-hmm.
And understanding that we all have things. And so I'm really grateful for my mom and just showing me that it's important to be yourself.
Yeah.
And because when you do that, you let those people around you know that they can do that as well. I'm grateful for her and showing me what it means to care.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just imagining your mom watching this, and I'm hoping she's eating that up, loving that. I self-identify as a mama's boy.
Yeah,
I really do. And one of the things that I love the most about my mom that I'm really grateful for, there's a long list, but one is that I could call my mom and tell her about like my goals and my dreams and where I'm doing with work and things like that. And I know she believes in me 100% in my purpose, my mission, what I'm going to accomplish, that I'm going to make it. And I also know that she cares zero. She is going to love me the exact same, whether I'm successful or not. And I think it's really important for each of us to have people like that in our lives, who are in our corner, who are our cheerleaders, who have no reservations about whether or not we're capable of our full potential,
right,
and who we dream to become. But also, none of their love, none of their care is predicated on that success.
Right.
They love us for who we are.
Sure.
And that is, it's empowering, because when you connect with those people, there's no ulterior motive, there's no agenda. It's pure. They care. They care.
Yeah. Yeah. With It's Cool to Care, we talk about those encouragers in our life, right?
Mm-hmm.
We got gainers and we got drainers.
Mm.
And so for both of us, we're fortunate enough to have those as moms.
Mm-hmm.
But it's important to know that for everybody, it's not going to look like that.
Yeah.
And that's the reality of life. And so whether it's your friend, whether it's your mom's friend, whether it's your friend's mom, no matter what it is, a teacher, a sibling, hold on to those encouragers.
Yeah.
Those people that, exactly like you had talked about, they believe in you, and they believe in you when you might not believe in yourself.
Yeah.
And there's something to be said about those people that are there for you through and through, that they can see you without your mask and love you just the same.
Yes. Oh, that's powerful. I think the simplest, easiest way to find those encouragers, or to find people who have your best interest at heart, for those who don't have them, I mean, it's a struggle. It's really hard if you don't have people like that baked into your life. And some of us don't, like you mentioned. I think the easiest way is to start being one of those people. Mm-hmm. And then you'll start to attract them. I don't know why it works, but I think it does really work if you start being that person. Back to another one of your points about how oftentimes our society glorifies the nonchalant and the I don't care, the I'm too cool.
Right.
Too cool to care instead of it's cool to care.
That's right.
It gets it totally backwards. I love a quote. I think it's from C.S. Lewis, but I could be misquoting. Apologize if I am. He says, "Love, the value of love, is never wasted, for its value does not rest in reciprocity." Love is never wasted, for its value does not rest in reciprocity. I think that for a lot of us is the barrier that's keeping us, holding us back from caring or expressing our love and care for other people, is we're not sure if it's going to come back to us.
Right.
We're not sure if they're going to feel the same way. We don't want to embarrass ourselves. But the positive effects of caring doesn't matter if somebody else gives it back to you. It's about you choosing to put that out into the world and controlling what you can control.
Right.
And lucky enough, it always does come back. In my experience so far, you tell me if I'm wrong.
No, I totally agree. And I think it comes back in ways that you would have never even imagined.
Yeah.
And I feel like most of the time it comes back in ways that you can't even put a grasp on. Mm-hmm. It comes back tenfold and then some. And it comes back in that way because no matter how it's perceived, whether it's reciprocated or not, you know in your heart that you did all that you could do. Mm-hmm. There's been times in my life where, and I know that everybody listening to this, I know that you are awesome camera guy. I know that we all can think of a time where we have put our heart out on the line and it's been stomped on.
Yeah.
And it's important. Those experiences, I feel in my personal experiences, are just as important as the ones where it was reciprocated, because it shows our true character. It shows that who we are, our character, what we give out, it's not a transactional thing.
Yeah.
It's a transformative thing. We're doing it because we care and we love. And no matter what, we're going to see you and look you in the eyes and care for you and love for you, even though you might not do the same back. And that's a hard space to live in.
Yeah.
And of course, we're all human. We're not going to be perfect at that. I still trip up and struggle all the time, as we all do. But at least if we know and we're thinking of the way and how we want to show up, it's easier for us to get there when we keep that at our forefront.
That's so powerful. Yeah, you can tell who a man really is by the way he treats those who can do nothing for him.
Right.
Yeah, so that's powerful what you shared. I'm sure for all those listening, today we've just, I feel like, touched the tip of the iceberg of Caroline and the incredible work that she's doing with It's Cool to Care. For those who want to learn more, they can visit your website, itscooltocare.com, right? Or is it .org?
Yeah, .org.
.org. Okay, yeah, itscooltocare.org.
Yep.
You'll see a lot of incredible things there. If you're interested in having Caroline come and share her message at your school, your kid's school, whatever organization you're a part of, feel free to connect, reach out there. There's also some incredible merch. You've designed, like, people make merch just to make merch sometimes, but your stuff looks good. It really does.
Oh, thank you. You're sweet.
No, you do a great job. I need to get on there, get some for me. So feel free to check out that merchandise, itscooltocare.org. And as well as following online social media, Instagram, it's just It's Cool to Care. They can find you there. And then Caroline Simpson, once again. And I'll link it to the episode here, so it's easy for you to find. Caroline, as we're winding down here, I think it's important for us to, once again, just turn back the clock a little bit to your younger self. And I would love to just open that up for you to share some of the things that you've learned, or maybe the message that you would leave with your younger self after all this progress, all the things you've learned, the trajectory that you're on right now. What wisdom would you leave back there?
Ooh. There's a lot that I would do, that I would leave there. But I think more than anything, I would sit with her. I would sit with her in those low moments. I would sit with her in those high moments. And I would let her know that there's going to be experiences everywhere where you have a choice. You have a choice to care. And it will always be the right choice, no matter what, no matter how you're treated, no matter how you're perceived, no matter how people are talking about you in front of your face or behind it. It's important to care and to show up and to be the person that you want to be. And as you do that, you'll grow into somebody pretty extraordinary. And where we sit in that space, we're still growing. I feel like we hear the quote, like, once you've made it. And I don't necessarily, I feel like that doesn't show the whole puzzle, because I think we're continually trying to make it. We're trying to continue to better ourselves. And so I feel like I would just tell her, my younger self, to always be the friend that you want to have. There's going to be times in our lives where we don't always have the best people around us. I feel like for a lot of my life, I tried to find my core people and they just weren't around. They didn't show up in a way that I wanted to, and I didn't feel very connected to. I had a lot of friends, but as like a specific friend group, I felt like I was kind of all over the place. But learning to be that friend that I wanted to be helped me attract those friends that cared and had similar morals and similar values. And so I think also that's what I would tell my younger self. Yeah. But if anybody's listening right now, I would probably just want to tell them that if you don't have your group set, if you don't have a group of friends that you feel like you're really connected to, that's okay. Because we've all been there. And it's a hard space and it's a lonely space. But by being the friend that you want to see, there's something to be said about that space. And it's important to show up in a way of love and care, no matter if it's reciprocated or not. And it's a hard thing to do, but it will always be rewarding.
Yeah. Oh, so powerful. I love that. I echo that same invitation. For those listening today, I'm sure there's a lot of takeaways and things you could pick out from our time together. But maybe number one invitation that we leave with you is just let somebody in your life know that you care about them. Be honest. Have the courage to be vulnerable, even if you're not sure how it's going to play out. have the courage to let them know. And who knows the impact that that could have on their life and the impact that it will definitely have on yours as well.
Right.
So
I think that's so impactful. And I would just like to extend that invitation as well. And I would extend you to do that today, because turns out tomorrow's busy and the next day is even busier than that. So it's important. We might think that our people closest to us know that we love and we care about them, but sometimes we all just need a little reminder.
mm-hmm.
And we never know what a little reminder can do, because it's those little reminders that can take us to new heights and bigger heights that we could dream of. So it's important that we sit in that care.
Absolutely. Oh man. Thank you so much, Caroline.
Yes. Thank you.
I've really loved our time together today. And I hope that this will continue as folks continue to connect with you and follow your message, follow what you're doing online. Also, lots of gratitude, appreciation for Beehive Broadcasts. Once again, providing just the perfect space for us to have these conversations and to grow and make progress together. And most of all, thank you, the listener, for joining us, tuning in today. We wish you nothing but progress. Hopefully you're able to incorporate some things from this episode to your journey and to your life that'll help you to grow into that next level version of yourself. And we hope to see you soon again on another episode of the Progress Podcast.